Here's one I bet no one has ever really thought of before, but that Leon is actually the merchant in Resident Evil 4 and the upcoming remake as well. Leon is the merchant. This is because no one else in the game ever sees the merchant. Leon is the only one who ever sees the merchant. And even in one part where you can kill the merchant, you can shoot him and he will die, but then he'll return as if nothing has happened to him. So it's sort of a Fight Club scenario where the merchant is just in Leon's head. Maybe it's that Leon has had these guns with him the whole time, and he is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder from the events of RE2, and he's carrying this like overwhelming weight of sort of schizoid imagination around with him, and so he thinks that there's this merchant following him, giving him all these guns. I mean, it clearly makes sense. Like, how does this merchant get from place to place to place to place? You know, and especially, how does he carry all these guns around and just, you know, tows them around like that? You know, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And how did he avoid capture from any of the infected, or Lord Sadler? How did he manage to even construct that lair he has underneath the castle? I believe that's it. He has a few rooms in the castle that he's got set up as a shop. How is he able to do all this? And who else is he selling this to? He doesn't seem to be selling it to anyone else but Leon, and he sort of just conveniently shows up when you least expect her, where it would just, you know, it would do the most service to Leon, you know? He's a figment of Leon's imagination. He's not real. He is not real. He is not there. He is not there. And the biggest reason, the biggest of them all, is that you can shoot him stone cold, point blank, right between the eyes, and he'll be back in the next scene like nothing even happened. He is a figment of Leon's imagination, and lastly, being that Leon is the only motherfucker on the island who ever fucking sees him. Does anyone else see him? Does Ashley see him? I don't think so. Maybe there's one scene where Ashley is following behind you, and I think you maybe run into the merchant, but she doesn't seem to like interact with him. You know, sort of like all those scenes in Fight Club where like Tyler Durden and the narrator are like around people, but the only person who ever interacts with Tyler Durden is the narrator. But you know, this is also a theory that people have about Big Lebowski, is that the character Donnie in Big Lebowski is actually not there either. That Donnie is a figment of Walter's imagination. That Donnie is someone who served in Vietnam with Walter, and that it's one of his comrades who, you know, died in war or something like that, and Walter's just been carrying this weight around with him, and it's manifesting through this sort of a schizoid sort of outbreak in his mind. And that's because if you watch the movie, most of the time it's Walter interacting with Donnie, and he's continuously telling him to shut the fuck up. You know, like he's this voice in his head. So, you know, that's what people say. But at the end of the movie, Jeff Lebowski clearly sees Donnie die, and they clearly go to his memory service at the end of the movie, and they spread his ashes. So If they're not spreading ashes, what the hell are they doing there at the end of the movie? What are they doing there? Like, why does Walter have a can of Folgers coffee? You know, why is he dumping it into water? The only logical explanation is that Walter knows his friend. I mean, Jeff Lebowski knows his friend Walter is sort of mentally ill, and he's just playing along with it. And that could be an explanation. That very well could be. But definitely in this, I think the merchant is a figment of Leon's imagination. Furthermore, in Resident Evil 5, there is no existence of this guy. As far as I know, in Resident Evil 5, you don't even have something of a merchant or like a humanoid figure that's selling you weapons. And that game is very similar to Resident Evil 4. It's the same style. But they don't have this humanoid figure selling you guns or ammunition or first aid products. None of that. So I think this is all in Leon's head. I think he is traumatized from the events of Resident Evil 2. And, you know, he's re-entering this world of pain and suffering to save the president's daughter. And he's using the merchant as a coping mechanism. That's about it. I'm Astrocastrophe. This has been a pretty far out there diatribe into the more deep, hidden sort of Stanley Kubrick philosophical meaning of Capcom's beloved series, Resident Evil 4. And I'm telling you, this shit is all over the place. It's just like in Silent Hill 2, when you enter that room and you jump down into the hole. That hole is supposed to represent Mary's vagina. This shit is all over the place, I'm telling you. It's the Stanley Kubrick effect. That is that there's hidden messages everywhere. Every piece of material, every piece of literature, every movie you see, every video game you play, every little detail has a hidden meaning to it, a subtle message to the viewer that you are supposed to analyze, psychoanalyze, and put together so you can make material on the internet and talk about it for eons to come. One of those movies is The Shining. You can find about 1,000,000 to 1 fucking things in that movie that have a hidden meaning to it. Just watch that documentary on it. Watch that Netflix documentary on it. It might be on YouTube now, I don't know, but hidden meaning everywhere in The Shining. It is everywhere. Everywhere, according to the experts, the Shining experts, according to them, it is everywhere. It is littered over that place. So I highly recommend that. But until next time, I'm Astrocastrophe. This has been the Astrocastrophe, and I'll see you again.